Look at that. You made it. It's day one, session 4, the last session, and we're stoked that you decided to stay with us. I'm Dan Ortega, and I'm going to be your DJ for this last session, session 14, ensuring application resiliency with IBM SevOne. And please don't stop asking those hard questions. You can enter them at the chat at any time. Don't be shy. We have Tim Greenside here, who's probably been here for, I would say, north of 10 years. I think he probably was here at the beginning. I'm not sure, you can ask him, but he's no stranger to the SevOne. And really, if Tim can't answer your question, then we are really all in trouble. Anyway, so let's put him to work. Take it away, Tim.
All right, thanks a lot, Dan. Hey, everybody. Yeah, I'm Tim Greenside. I've been working with the SevOne solution now for around 14 years, I think, and I've been in the industry for over 30. So I'm kind of getting up into that old-timer realm. Today, I wanted to talk with you about some of the ways that IBM has been working the SevOne solution, as far as being able to help you to continuously assure your network performance of your critical applications. And so I wanted to start out talking about some of the trends that we're seeing. We want to make sure that we're staying in alignment with challenges that our customers are running into and working the best we can to help them to address those challenges. So I'll be talking about some of the trends and some of the things that we're seeing, and then we'll actually get into looking at some of the ways that we've been continually working on helping our customers be successful and using SevOne to do so. So let's get started here. Okay, so some of the trends, it's this is no new news here. This, in our current world, we require and we expect our applications to be always available and always fast. Applications are, they rely on the network to bridge the gap between the end user and, the data center or the application, so that they can use our applications, buy our services, and so on and so on. So, we're expecting, there's an expectation nowadays that applications are available, are up and fast. And so what we're seeing with, along with having this expectation of continuously good performance and availability, that's being challenged. And there's some different things that are actually causing that challenge to continue to increase. One of it is just whenever shifting to the hybrid cloud and software as a service model, and we're also seeing labor shortages and then also kind of the transition from static to dynamic networks. These are three of the big areas that we're seeing that are challenging existing teams. And that's whenever you think about making a change is never easy, it seems. There's always a promise that when you if you do this, move to this new paradigm, everything is going to be great. Well, typically you end up running into challenges that you didn't anticipate. And so there was a study done, and the network teams, they felt that they could be more successful and maybe eliminate 53% of network outages and problems if they had better tools. And so that kind of tells you that there's some gaps as you're moving from how you've been doing things into the new paradigm or new technology that you're deploying. You end up having gaps in visibility. And also along with that, then it's hard to find skilled talent, to actually get hired onto your team. And so those are a couple of the different things that, as IBM and SevOne, as a team, we're looking at how do we help to reduce the gaps in visibility. How can we make it easier for new hires to maybe do more, and also to augment some of their experience with things like generative AI and things like that. So those are some of the areas that we're seeing. And in addition to that, along with these deploying new types of technologies, you have things like deploying SD-WAN in the environment. You have the deploying things like moving your applications, maybe modernizing your apps into container-based apps, Kubernetes-based, that are in different clouds. So you might have multiple clouds that you might be deploying out into, as well as more and more today you see a lot of applications being delivered as software as a service. So we're looking to, in order to help our customers to maintain the visibility that they need in order to be effective in their job, they need to be able to collect new types of data, and then also be able to do more with that data. And so we're looking at ways to increase and improve the ability of our customers to do both of those things. And I'll be showing you some of those things today. Okay, so with SevOne 7, we're currently on 7.2 right now. And so with SevOne 7, some of the areas that we're focusing on are, this idea of application-centric network observability. So there's always been the age-old challenge to determine, is it, everyone says the network is slow, but is it really the network, or could it be something in the application infrastructure that's causing it? So being able to identify how different applications and services are being delivered over the network, and then being able to quickly triage and understand, what if there is a performance issue, what domain is it in? In addition to that, having visibility into hybrid cloud networks. So you've got applications that are being deployed in the cloud, and they could be in hybrid cloud. So to avoid vendor lock, you might be deploying applications in AWS or in GCP or Azure, or a combination perhaps of those. So having visibility into a network and a data center that's not yours, but it's, you're essentially leasing space in it. And so being able to have that visibility into how those applications are performing and the network surrounding them is as important as ever. And then finally, as we're collecting all this data, how do we sift through it all to be able to actually make use of it in an application context, so that we can, be able to talk the same language as our end users? They don't say that a particular router and link is slow. They say that, my team's application, my session had some issues, and I'm in the Chicago office. So being able to take that information and be able to drill back into doing like a team specific lookup to be able to see how those services are being delivered, and then what infrastructure was related, how was the infrastructure related to delivery of that service performing. Okay, so let's first of all, we'll get into app-centric network observability a little bit, and kind of where we've been. And it's definitely been a journey over the past few years. You can see some of the versions and some of the different capabilities that we've added as we've gone along the path. And you see, it seems kind of like we're picking up momentum here with adding more and more things, but it's to keep up with our customers and the demand that they have for different types of functionality. So you can see that things like being able to monitor for SaaS related. Let's see if I can get my mouse to show up. I guess I can't. But being able to back in August of 2023, we add capabilities around being able to identify which applications our end users are using. SaaS-based applications, they're not hosted in our data center. The challenge with some of this stuff is that, like with SaaS, everything is on port 443. So how do you determine what's what? So we've added, capabilities around SaaS, around being able to, when we're talking about applications, categorize the applications so we can understand, which applications are social media, which applications are business related. And then being able to go and drill from, we've done metric to flow for a long time where we could see if we have high bandwidth utilization, what's causing it. So being able to go the opposite direction and say, from flow, like my application, my Teams traffic and my session that was poor, I want to be able to drill backwards into network metrics related to the delivery of that service. So those are some of the things that we've done. And we've continued to move from left to right into newer and different areas, looking at things like Kubernetes monitoring, using eBPF to be able to understand the traffic, how the traffic is flowing within a Kubernetes environment between containers, and understand things like round trip time and latency there. And then we've been continuing to add our popular cloud solutions into our platform too. So being able to retrieve performance data related to different clouds, AWS, Azure, and now we've just recently added GCP into the mix. So the idea is, with looking at conversation data with things like NetFlow, we're able to see, this giant sea of IP addresses. And when you're looking at data from, that's all flowing over 443, it might be challenging to be able to understand, maybe you can get some hints from things like DNS to understand maybe what a particular IP address translates to, but it can be really challenging. And so, what we're looking at, what we've done is with our solution, we've included on board with it a large database of application definitions based upon IP address ranges. So that helps us to understand the types of traffic and the types of applications that are actually being used. So, no matter what type of NetFlow you're using, if you're using IPFix, version 5 or 9 of NetFlow, even version 5 of NetFlow, the older stuff, we're able to, just by looking at IP addresses, we can start to categorize the types of applications that are being used, the SaaS applications, and the category of applications as well. So it really helps with the visibility to understand what's being used. So in addition to that, we can take those application IPs, and NetFlow will give us some additional information too, like things like application system numbers, ASNs. And in that information too, we can look at understanding the organization, the company associated with the traffic, and as well as the actual country where the traffic is coming from or flowing through. And so, this allows us to see a lot more visibility, from going from just, application and port to now I'm able to see what country are my users, hitting my application from, what applications are they using, and so on. So it's really, we've been doing this for a while now, since version 6.6, and we're on 7.2 now. So, but this is something that is really, required when you're talking about doing a lot with SaaS-based applications nowadays with our organizations, to be able to give us that visibility that we need. So we have, the automatic enrichment of BGP and country of origin. So this is one of the screenshots showing some of the data, some of the views that you can get, where you can see by volume of traffic these different bands, the Sankey diagram that allows us to see the country to country traffic and information about the applications that are being used. And so there's newer ways of looking at the data, and it's just to help us to kind of sort through and visualize how traffic is being routed between countries and what applications are being used, as well as who are the top talkers consuming the most bandwidth. And so here's an idea of some SaaS enrichment. With SaaS enrichment, we have over 5,000 SaaS application fingerprints, or like a forensic fingerprint, where we can tell what types of applications are being used. And this doesn't require any kind of DPI. So, in the earlier days, Cisco used to have a feature set called application visibility and control, and they had some onboard applications defined there. But this doesn't require any of that. This can, and all we need are IP addresses, and we're able to identify the types of traffic that and the SaaS applications that are being used. The applications, then we categorize them as well, so that way we can see things that are more business related or CDN related, streaming, storage, social networks, and so on. And then within those, we have the different, application. If it's CDN, maybe you see Akamai in there, or if it's social media, maybe I see Instagram and Facebook, things like that. And then when I had mentioned we've started getting into visibility within the containers in a Kubernetes environment. So you can enable this what's called eBPF. So it's enhanced Berkeley packet filter capabilities. So essentially what that means is that it's we're able to see the application information between containers as well as from the Kubernetes environment out. So that gives us the ability to understand how the traffic between the containers is actually flowing, and which is important because in a cloud-based environment and with new modern applications, you're seeing Kubernetes container controlled container based applications, and so being able to understand how those components are performing is key. And we think that if you can't measure it, you can't really improve on it, or you can't troubleshoot it very easily. So being able to have this visibility is key to being able to understand the the container to container performance along with the container to the end user performance. So I had mentioned a bit about this. In the old days, you might have on the left, before, you might have an end user. They might say the network is slow, but or that I had an issue with Teams, and so from there, the engineer had to try to figure out where to go, and so it could cause complexity and time. The mean time to identify, mean time to resolve is increased by complexity. So with our application first direction, when you get a question about Teams, you could ask the user, what office are you calling from? And then from there, I could do a team specific query for that application and be able then to quickly identify all the data related to delivery of Teams to that application. So that can help me to greatly reduce the complexity and get to the bottom of things quicker. So an example of querying by application, you can chain then from flow to performance metrics. So if I see I'm having Teams issues with within my Chicago office, I can drill directly into the link that traffic is flowing over, link or links, and then that helps me to understand was there congestion that was occurring over that time, things like that can help me to provide additional context that looking at NetFlow data alone might not give you, but being able to combine that with performance metric data can really help to understand what might be driving it. The next thing I want to talk about are some of the things that we've been doing around the hybrid multi-cloud network visibility, as well as a little bit of SD-WAN mixed in. So looking at our cloud and SD-WAN visibility, again, we've been on this journey for a while. So we've got a number of different cloud providers as well as SD-WAN providers on board in the solution nowadays. So we started out with AWS and Azure, and then GCP is the latest that we've added to the mix for cloud, along with IBM Cloud as well. And then in addition to that, we have the visibility or the ability to see different types of SD-WAN providers too. But today, you know, we've added just added GCP support for the solution. Kind of like the other solutions, the other cloud providers, you know, we started out with the most common, most high value metrics, and then we continued to build out the solution over releases. And you can see here that we have a pretty regular cadence that we're delivering new capabilities around this. And so you'll see, I'm sure, as we continue down the path, we're going to see some additional capabilities around GCP that that will be coming out along with what we're currently doing today. So GCP is currently in public preview. You know, so we're looking at the solution itself. It's really easy to deploy, and we're able to go out and collect data from the GCP environment. We're supporting initially compute instances, cloud storage, cloud router, and cloud interconnect, and related metrics for those. Also, we're bringing in a rich set of metadata so that allows you to get needed context when you're looking at cloud environments, so that you're able to actually really make really good use of the data. And with our metadata, you can do things like auto grouping of assets and components and things like that based upon metadata values. So it's really neat. So looking at this, just a couple of screenshots for you here, just so you can kind of see what it might look like. The Google Compute Engine metrics here. So being able to monitor all the indicators related to that. With just like any other indicators, we normalize the data coming into the solution. So it gives us the ability to, you can take advantage of things like our auto baselining that we do. We learn what normal looks like so that you can be alerted when things deviate from normal. If it's too wrong for too long, as I like to say, then you're able to be notified so that your team can start, to take an approach where you don't necessarily have to wait for end users to call and complain. If there's a performance issue, you can be alerted because the system's actually detecting that something is abnormal. GCP Cloud Router as well. So with this, you're able to pull information, and we have a number of different tabs and visibility. So you can see we have curated reports that come out of the box with the solution, and then you're able to have different groups of assets like cloud routers. You can view them all together, see how they're doing, understand if there's any particular router or issue that's impacting one or all of the components, perhaps. So you're able to quickly see and monitor the entire estate from within SevOne. The same thing with Cloud Interconnect. So being able to understand, from your on-premise network to your VPCs, for dedicated partner across cloud interconnects, being able to understand how the traffic is being delivered and if there's any performance issues. And then also storage. So understanding the Google Cloud Storage and how you're doing there as far as having adequate storage for your applications. Okay, so to kind of compare the three different cloud monitoring solutions that we have in place today, with AWS, we've got a number of looks like 6 or 7 different object types or things that we're going after. So we're looking at the compute, the network components, the storage associated with all three of the vendors, and you'll see that as we continue to progress, you'll see Google Cloud continue to be built out to support additional components of Google Cloud. One of the things that we've added in the 7.2 release is the ability to create synthetic indicators. And synthetic indicators are really useful, where you can do math on any of the indicator values. In the case of cloud, cost is one of the things that can be interesting to understand. So being able to associate a cost metric with the volume of traffic that that you're pulling out of the cloud might be an interesting metric to see. So we give you the ability to put your cost metrics in, and so you have a better understanding of maybe helping you to predict where your monthly bill might be headed. I wanted to talk about SD-WAN a little bit too. We've just recently added support for Aruba Edge Connect SD-WAN. So this was originally Silver Peak, known as Silver Peak, and so with this we're able to we've got an easy onboarding solution for being able to talk with the HP Enterprise Aruba controller, and so we're able to automate onboarding of SD-WAN assets as they come on board, and there aren't any external collectors needed with the solution. That's one of the things that we've been working towards in the early days of our being able to deploy these solutions out there. A lot of times we ended up with containerized collectors that might be on their own hosts, and so that caused more overhead to be able to monitor things and more complexity. So we've been working hard towards making more of these collectors just be on board, so that you don't have to worry about having to deploy additional monitoring infrastructure to be able to take advantage of the capabilities. And so along with this, there's a lot of descriptive metadata again, and that's pretty much needed with not only cloud but also SD-WAN to be able to understand what it is that you're looking at and giving you the metadata that you can get out of the the SD-WAN providers is really super helpful. And we also have a number of out-of-the-box curated reports, so you get day one value when you enable the SD-WAN collector. So here's just a quick little example of how complex it is to deploy this. Within the SevOne backend system where you do administration, you specify the SD-WAN vendor, the orchestration URL, and then its username and password for the URL, and then you're done. So this is a real quick and painless way to start deploying the solution. Okay, so looking at our portfolio as we have it today, we have the Cisco, Versa, VeloCloud, HP, Aruba, and Fortinet as our SD-WAN, current SD-WAN solutions. So now that we're collecting all this performance data, and so we want to be able to make use of it. So being able to get some insights out of it. So I wanted to kind of talk about some of the things we're doing here. Within the solution itself, we have what's called instant graphs. And so instant graphs gives you the ability to just be able to mix and match different types of information. So in this case, I can create, I can go out and retrieve information on things like different types of metrics and be able to visualize things together within the screen. So it's kind of like a scratch pad area. One of the things that's cool about it too is that as you're creating different views, and you can visually analyze without having to actually necessarily create a static report out of it. This can just be a scratch area, but you can also, each of the charts have a little shopping cart in the upper right-hand corner of the cart. And so that's a capability called stashing. It's a really, really neat capability, so that anywhere within the SevOne Data Insight solution, any chart that you see will have that shopping cart, maps and things like that too. So you can grab things that are interesting, or as you're troubleshooting, grab different charts and put them in your cart. And then later on, eventually, if you're troubleshooting, you probably want to share that information with people. Send it to them in a report format, or bring it with you to a war room meeting if you have to do that. Hopefully not too often, but and that way you've collected all the data, maybe across multiple screens, but you're able to visualize it all within one report then. So it's really cool. It's one of the things that I'm really psyched about. So this is kind of an example here where I've got this download transfer time report. I want to add it along with some other metrics that I've collected to troubleshoot an issue, so I can add it to my cart. And then when I create a new report or in an existing report, I could go in and I can go to my cart and I can just unload my cart into the report, and away I go. I'm able to see all the related metrics related to an incident that I'm triaging. So it's great. The other thing is you can save that report then too, and then as you're working through the issue, you have all of the charts that were related to that report, and these are dynamic charts too, so they can actually update over time. So as you're resolving the issue, you can see the impact that it has on all the related charts that you did that you collected during your troubleshooting. So it's really, really a great way of doing things. We've added device manager to the solution. So we're trying to, thinking back to those challenges, one of the challenges was, having adequate visibility. And we've talked about some of the ways we're addressing that, but also, being able to have skilled workers, as well as being able, the people that you're hiring and that are working on your teams, their time is really valuable. And so we're continuing looking at ways that we can make just maintaining the solution more automated and easier. One of the ways is less time toggling between, we have a front end today, which is called Data Insight. And then we also have a back end solution it's more of the collection part of the administrative side of things. And what we're looking at doing is let's reduce the amount of time that you're having to spend going into the back end to do things like add devices or updating community strings. Let's give you the ability to do that within Data Insight. So we've added the device manager, gives the same type of visibility you get in the device manager on the NMS itself on the back end, but now I can see it in the front end without having to go there. I can I can link directly to Data Insight, different types of dashboards and reports by just selecting on a particular device or devices and then go. And then it also gives me the ability to do bulk edits. So not only can I discover new devices right here, but I could also do bulk edits of things like community strings for groups of devices. So makes things, life is a lot better. It makes it a lot easier to maintain the solution. We've improved the topology widget. So within the topology widget itself, it used to be fairly basic and would just provide you with some connectivity, being able to kind of see how certain things were connected, but it lacked a lot of features that you would see in our map widget. So we've tried to, kind of level up our topology widget to be more like the map widget, where you can see you can have circles that are controlled by thresholds or alerts. They can grow in size if you choose, based upon the number of alerts that you see in the status. And the lines now are colored based upon either performance or monitoring profiles that you might apply against them. So it makes it more useful. And the thing I like about the topology widget is that it's minimal curation needed. You're able to just we've got this in some template reports that when you select the report, you select a device and launch the report, it's going to automatically make that device the focal point and do it like a 2-hop or a 3-hop discovery on it. So it allows you to quickly, dynamically see the kind of the lay of the land and how things are interconnected and performing. So you can click on components like the link itself. It'll tell you how the link how the links were discovered between devices or the adjacencies between devices. And we've added things like we have CDP in there, BGP, ARP cache, things like that, but also things like EIGRP and other protocols to be able to understand how things are interconnected with each other. In addition to that, you can actually link from the individual interfaces directly into interface object reports to be able to see specific views for how that interface is performing. So makes it really easy to, instead of just having a dead end where you can see some interesting things, but it gives you the ability to have workflow, so you can continue to dive deeper and deeper into performance-related things that are interesting to you or assets that you need to have better visibility into. And then, looking in the network device summary, you'll see that we've added a lot of metadata on board in this solution now. So we've had the ability to do metadata for quite some time. We didn't necessarily populate very much of it, but we gave you the ability to do so. And usually it was required maybe a little bit of Python scripting, or to be able to import data maybe from a spreadsheet into metadata fields. But in this release, in the 7.2 release, we've actually added a large metadata database that's populated for different types of devices. There's a lot of different fields in there that are populated that I think you'll find are very useful. And so those are now available, and they're great for doing different types of asset reports that you can do with the solution, since we're discovering a lot of the infrastructure, being able to have visibility into the different components, so you can see what versions things are on, things like that is really important, as well as things like serial numbers that might be needed for doing updates. Okay, so that was kind of a quick overview of IBM 7. It could be 7.0 to 7.2. 7.2 is where we're at right now. And then there are a few other items here I'll just touch on. So topology, we've got the topology, which I talked about, which are kind of the templated maps. We also have more curated maps, called live maps. And so within the live maps, we've got support, I guess, with both types of maps. IS to IS and EIGRP are added as support. You can use metadata information, lat long coordinates to auto position things on the map, which makes it nice. Also, there's a lot of tagging that can be done for filtering of busy maps to be able to see the things that you want to see within them. But the maps is really a cool way of, once you create a map with the map tool, then these maps are exportable into different reports that you have. And so, it gives you the ability to visually lay things out in an attractive way. We do both a canvas style map, as well as, which is kind of like a simplified map without a background, or you can add your own backgrounds, or you can use tile servers, like a geo map, like you're seeing here on the screen. So it gives you the ability to add context to how things are performing. Also, all the statuses, for a NOC, you want to have actionable things that the NOC people actually have run books or playbooks that if something occurs, that they know to do something with it. And so one of the nice things that you can do with these maps too is you can associate specific policies, monitoring policies that are only applied to the map. So that way you can see, I want my availability for my devices and links on the map. I want errors and discards, and bandwidth utilization. That's it. Maybe I don't want fans or other things like that showing, alerts for those showing up on the map. So it really allows you to tailor the experience that you have for the particular your NOC users or your particular users of the map. Okay, so this is a canvas view right here. So it's kind of like a Visio kind of a view where prior we had the geo map, and then when you can also toggle to the canvas view, and so you can see this. Either you can toggle back and forth, or you can choose to display one or the other. It's up to you, and it just allows you to get different types of insights from looking at the different components that are on your map. And then this is an example of taking that map and importing it into a report. So now I can, an example here is a cell site router. In this case, I can see where that router is located geographically. And then I can also have all of the components associated with the performance of that device. So just by clicking on it, it kind of hides the other devices that are in the map, and it focuses on what it is that I need to focus on. Some other things that we do that maybe you're aware of or not, you can monitor, do some synthetic monitoring or kind of robotic monitoring, where we have some different types of plugins that allow us to go out and do synthetic tests. This is actually done from the NMS or the backend systems, but they're able to, like here, I can go out and collect HTTPS monitoring of a bunch of different websites. Just kind of gives me a thermometer, or just gives me a point of reference to see how well access to those particular sites are doing. So if I have a set of sites or SaaS solutions that my end users use, I could point and retrieve some of the data from those solutions here and be able to measure the availability, DNS lookup time, availability of the connections out to those different SaaS providers or different websites. And then you're able to drill into details about it. So if you see something with performance is degrading, you can view that over time, see when it started to occur. We collect all of our data as polled for a year without rolling it up. So you're able then to go back in time and you can go back and look at the performance of the data, and you could actually do capacity planning based upon analysis of the performance data over time to project how things are going to be looking in the future. Okay, and then also along with monitoring the network, we do a lot of server and infrastructure monitoring, so we can collect a lot of performance data, Linux-based as well as Windows, WMI-based solutions. We can collect data there as well, or we can also collect data using APIs, or things like collecting data from VMware environments, things like that. So with that, again, we normalize all the data, allows you then to be able to pivot between, as you're looking at a service, you could pivot between the network-related performance issues, or maybe there's something related to a process on a server or the server itself. So being able to understand where the slowness is really coming from, so that you can go and investigate, within a single solution, it's really powerful. We've added additional capabilities with webhooks now, so we can, you can send webhooks to when a threshold is violated. You can send an alert immediately to another solution, maybe like Slack as an example. So being able to notify the team or a community that something is going on, it's a really powerful thing. So I wanted to mention here, we're kind of getting close to being done. But looking at within the SevOne and IBM we've got a lot of different user communities. There's a community page though for SevOne. It's actually, you can look for SevOne NPM in the different communities, and you'll see it's kind of under IBM AI Ops and Management is where it's at. Within this, you've got a lot of resources that are free. They're freely available to you, so you can just sign up for this. And there's great stuff like discussions, libraries of different files, automations. So along with monitoring, we do have low code, no code automation done with IBM Rapid Infrastructure Automation. And so within that, we do post users as well as power users within IBM will post different types of automation library examples that you can download for free and load them into your Rapid Infrastructure Automation tool to be able to take advantage of those. Also, there's blogs and events and things like that show up within this on a regular basis. So I really recommend you go out there and sign up for it. It's the IBM communities. Let's see. So there's IBM Ideas out here as well, with ideas.ibm.com. This is where you can go in and you can add new features or new, if you have a new idea that you think would really be helpful to you, you can go in and add ideas, and then you can also vote on other ideas, vote them up or down to be able to see, if there's features that you want in the solution. And our product management ties directly into this, and they're monitoring this all the time. So that I just put in an idea yesterday, and I already heard back from a PM today about it. So it's definitely an area that, for new opportunity or new ideas that you have that you think would be helpful, put them in there for us, and the community, we can vote on them and get more attention from product management. Okay, so we're continuing to try to make things easier. So lately, things we've been working on, deploying our solution on Red Hat Enterprise Linux as read-only containers. What's great about that is it's easier to upgrade. So before, we used to have to touch a lot of files when we were doing upgrades, but now with read-only containers, it's more of a matter of just copying in a new container and firing it up. So that makes things a lot easier to upgrade, in minutes instead of hours or days. And then also, makes quicker to scale to be able to expand capacity in the solution. So we have rapid infrastructure automation. I mentioned it as some different. It's our no-code, low-code solution. So we're able to do things to turn insights into action really with this. So as we're collecting all the data, there might be things that we want to do based upon machine learning observations that we see to be able to automate or remediate issues. Also being able to do things like reducing repetitive tasks with automation, or leveraging the self-service APIs based data extraction to be able to do maybe there's something you want to collect data from, and maybe it doesn't have an SNMP agent, but it has an API. So being able to kind of collect any data and import it into your solution. So you can see here, this is kind of an example of it. It's drag and drop blocks, and within this, one of the blocks that we have, you have the ability to leverage your existing automation. So we're not trying to get you to get off Ansible or get off of Terraform or anything like that. It really, what we see with rapid infrastructure automation is it really helps to makes other tools better. So you're able to augment and with really easy workflows, without having to know any kind of Python or anything like that. You can integrate different types of your existing automations, maybe in some different workflows, along with being able to do things like integrate Slack or integrate ServiceNow into a workflow, along with your Ansible or your Python scripts that you might currently be using. So you're able to it really helps make your other tools better, other solutions better, just by being able to, if you can identify any gaps in how you're doing things today, or opportunities to have a workflow built around that. It's a really easy and fun way of doing things. It's also a fully role-based access control, and there's extensive logging, as well as the workflows will integrate with things like a GitHub repository, so you can have full lifecycle management over your workflows that you're creating. So that's it. I just wanted to give you a kind of an overview of where things that we've been working on to help you to continue to maintain the visibility that you need in order to have insight into how applications and services are being delivered in the environment. So you have the ability to take advantage of the performance reporting and the historical data that we're analyzing with machine learning, along with being able to take, remediate, do automated actions, to be able to automate things to help those newbies that are coming on your staff to be able to do more with less, to do more sooner than later. So with that, Dan, that's all I've got.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you very much, Tim. That was very, very comprehensive. And I'm not sure if you saw some of the questions. There was one question in the chat room, and I'm going to ask that. I'm not sure if you saw it, but I will ask it now. Where can I find out more about the capabilities included in the latest SevOne 7.2 version?
Okay, well, yeah, that's great. I want to point you back to the IBM community. Within the community, there are events listed there, and one of those is it's just in a couple of days, actually. There's going to be product managers are going to be giving an overview of the new features in 7.2. So go out to the IBM community under the SevOne NPM user community, and you'll be able to click on a link there to sign up for it. So yeah, that's a great question.
Okay, good, good. And I have a few of my own. Since we have a few minutes left, I might as well, while I'm giving people time to, if they wanted to ask some more questions, they can. We have a few minutes here. But Tim, what would you say is our secret sauce? Maybe the top 2 or 3, because there's a lot of stuff. I mean, it could easily get lost in the whole barrage of features and stuff that we can do. But why this over? There's a lot of platforms out there, but if you can give me maybe crystallize it or 2 or 3, things that make us different than others, what would you say?
So one of the things, I'd mentioned that when we collect data, well, first of all, breadth of collection, I guess, is a huge one. So we're able to collect data from traditional methods as well as using APIs. And so that really allows us to collect data from anything. It could be an Internet of Things thing. In one case, we're collecting from smart water meters and to be able to actually look, measure decibels to understand if leaks were occurring. That was kind of an interesting use case. But so being able to have broad collection across different methods, whether it's API based, whether it's traditional methods like SNMP and NetFlow.
If I had like a windmill farm for whatever reason, and it had CPUs on them, and I wanted to see how they were performing, you mean I could bring it into the system and see it?
You bet. Yeah, you could. If it's got an API. Yeah, one of the guys on our team had like a home weather station. It had an API, so he was pulling data in. So you can really nerd out with it if you want, but it really gives you a lot of capabilities. Along with that, we baseline and learn what normal is, so we can alert you if things deviate from normal, and that's just done for every single thing we're collecting on. So you don't have to worry about turning that component on; it'll just do it. And that gives you the ability to know when things are too wrong for too long, as I mentioned. The other thing is really our integration with our this no-code, low-code rapid infrastructure automation. Again, this makes every tool better, including SevOne. It just gives us the ability, gives you the ability to easily automate, administration of the solution, collecting from new data sources like your windmill farm.
Sure.
Things like that. So those are, I've been told by customers, they love rapid infrastructure automation, and they've told me it's one quote was, it's a game changer, for one customer that was evaluating us along with looking at, kind of comparing us versus tools rationalization, which people do sometimes. And they thought being able, just this easy automation was really a game changer.
Yeah, no, I agree, because a lot of folks we hear in the market are saying, well, it's nice that I have all this data, but I don't have time to sit in front of all the data. What can I do with it? And it sounds like what you're saying is that rapid infrastructure automation allows you to do something even if you're not looking at the screen. Would you say that's accurate?
Yeah, that's correct. It makes it easy to integrate with other tools like ServiceNow or PagerDuty or any other types of tool that you have. It does more than just network monitoring, actually, too, or network management things. Yep. It's really, if you have different types of applications or databases or HR systems, whatever it might be, you can really automate any type of thing with it. So it's anything with an API, or if you can SSH and run SSH commands or other Windows commands or Terraform, Ansible, Python, any of those things, you can drag and drop blocks into workflows that allow you to accomplish things with a real easy to use user-friendly interface.
You know, you brought up a good point. You mentioned robotic monitoring, and I don't hear many other folks say that. I think I just heard you say that. At least maybe I haven't been in a lot of other presentations, but that's interesting because I was hearing some other presentations. I think Raul was on, and he was talking about latency. And when you have latency like on an interface, it's very hard to actually find it or to start doing manual checking of when that's actually happening. So what you're saying is from what I understand. So let's say this, I don't know, router's having a latency issue, right? And it keeps bugging me, but I'm not able to track it because I'm not able to manually set the alert on it to be able to start tracking it. Are you saying that I could go off to lunch, and set up, this rapid infrastructure information, and automatically, as soon as that interface starts dropping these packets, that it would robotically and automatically start capturing those drop packets? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, you can have it do a number of things. So first of all, the SevOne system itself can learn what normal performance looks like. So if something goes into a bad state, it can automatically detect that that's occurring. But then, it can, if you have a particular, say you want to notify a particular team, if you see something like this occurring, or maybe go out and do a trace route or ping something or collect, data or notify somebody. That can all be done with rapid infrastructure automation. So you can have an automated webhook that occurs from SevOne that I talked about. We've done some improvements on that. And that can forward information into rapid infrastructure automation, which a workflow then could take that information and do something with it. So that really allows you to, instead of waiting to come back from lunch, you could have maybe it detects that SevOne detects something's happening. It sends you a Slack message, so it notifies you that it's detected this, and then once maybe if it's done a remediative action to resolve the issue, then it could send you another Slack message while you're still eating your burrito at lunch, telling you what it did.
And I like my burritos, I'll tell you that much. Well, Tim, at that, thank you so much. We do appreciate your time. It's been a great day of this session, a great day of learning. This is our last session, so we're glad we're almost finished, but we're not finished yet. We do have an office hours that's going to be happening momentarily. But before you leave, please respond to the survey and provide us some feedback. I know Tim is eager to hear your feedback. He lives and dies, waiting for your feedback, for him. So, but right now we'll actually be opening up the network automation office track hours. And so you can also see Tim's going to be there, Raul's going to be there, the rest of the gang is going to be there, Jason's going to be there, and Liam, and our the person from Vivek from security is not going to be there, unfortunately, because he's off on the other side of the world, so it's too late for him. But we'll all be there, and we're going to be fair game. Ask us any question. It's sports related. We'll have to ask one of maybe, I don't know how we're going to do with that, but if it's related to any one of our solutions that are infrastructure automation, we'd be glad to answer that at that time. So look forward to seeing you there. Take care.